network, right? You actually do not concentrate much on programming, right? In other words, it's like allergic to program for you people. But we'll see whether we can proceed like that for the future, right? Because future will be quite different, right? Right. So this is what you are today, right? You have lot of networking skills, right? So most of you have done networking, say internet switching, and maybe this time we will be doing internet routing. So maybe you are very conversant on these things like spanning tree, routing protocols, and other things, right? But of course, so you can see your weightage on networking skills is more than your programming skills most of the time, unless otherwise, right? එතකොට මේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකේදී අපි කරන්නේ network program. එතකොට මේ network programming වලදී කියන්නේ අපිට network එක කොහොමද අපි program කරන්නේ කියන එක. right? network එක අපි කොහොමද program කරන්නේ කියන එක. right? එතකොට මෙතනදී ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේන දේ තමයි network එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තියෙන skills අනුව ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගොඩ වෙලාට concentrate කරන්නේ networking skills ගැන. programming skills ගැන වැඩි ආස නැහැ, කැමති නැහැ. ඒකට allergic වගේ situation. ඒතර ඇත්තටම එහෙම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට survive වෙන්න බෑ in the future. ඒතර අපි බලමු මොකක්ද මෙතන වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. So earlier your network looked like this, right? It had 3 layers, right? Router layer, then switching layer, and then right? So these are the 3 layers that you had in your network. So network was quite simple. So at that age, having this kind of skill set was acceptable. But network wasn't like this for a long time. It changed. Right, today you can see a server running many virtual machines, and you will have virtual switches, right? So you can see that the network change occurred with this kind of virtualization which was happening at the server end. And then you saw some server vendors coming up with blade switches, right? Another change to the network, and then you can see a fully fledged network. Say with the participation of the cloud and the cloud exchange, you will see you have virtual machines, Linux switches, and the containers, and cloud being connected straight to the containers. And you can see there are so many other things like load balancers, firewall, intrusion prevention systems, domain name service, gateways, and so on. So you can see your network has evolved. More than that, it has come into the age of the cloud, right? Age of the cloud. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ network එක බොහොම සරල විදිහට තිබ්බ network එක දැන් ඒක virtualize වෙලා ඊළඟට blade switches එකතු වෙලා ඊළඟට cloud එකත් එක්ක සානෝයකුත් අද features එක මේක ගොඩාක් expand වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේනවා network එකේ ලොකු වෙනසක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා especially මේ cloud එකත් එක්ක. So as networking people, you have been dealing with half of the data link layer, then the network layer and the transport layer, right? But you have never dealt with the other part. These ones I have dealt with black color, and the other ones I have dealt with the red color. Right? So you have only concentrated on this green color layers, right? But as you can see, networking has changed over time, right? Networking has changed over time. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ මෙච්චර කාලයක් ගොඩාක් concentrate කරේ මේ green parting තියෙන layers ටික. හරි? ඔයගොල්ලෝ අනිත් layers ගැන වැඩි concentrate කරේ නැහැ. But networking has undergone many changes, especially from the Stone Age. So it started off with the Stone Age. So last semester, you may have learned internet network switching. There you learned about virtual LANs and spanning tree. So those are in Stone Age. Then that was transition to the Bronze Age, where we had routing protocols, WAN design, and then the IP version 4 and the IP version. So IP version 4 addresses were depleting, and therefore we had to migrate to IPv6, right? IPv6. And then came the Renaissance, right? The Renaissance, where in this Renaissance you had SDN. SDN stands for Software Defined Networking, and open flow controllers, multi-protocol BGP overlays, VXLAN, microsegmentation, and white box. So you can see a new way of dealing with networks, especially with the software defined network. Then came the programmable age, where we had cloud, we have cloud, Python, then a lot of other things like REST APIs, netconf, Yang, which are new networking protocols, fabrics. Then along with SDN, software defined networking, you have network functions, virtualizations, then DevOps and containers. So you can see networking has transitioned over the years, right? It has not stayed in the Stone Age, but it has transitioned to the Bronze Age, then the Renaissance and the programmable age. Right, so why is that the network has to transition like this, right? So ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේනවා දැන් මේ network එක Stone Age එකේ ඉඳලා Bronze Age එකට ඊළඟට Renaissance එකට ඊළඟට programmable age එකට transition වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒකට ඇයි අපිට මෙහෙම සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? So why is it important that we have this kind of transition, right? Especially it's because of this called the digital transformation. right? එතකොට මේ digital transformation කියන මේ new trend එක නිසා තමයි මේක වෙන්නේ. ඊළඟට අපි enterprise එක පුළුවන් තරම් digitize කරන්න බලන්න. පුළුවන් තරම් digitize කරන්න බලන්න. එතකොට ඕගොල්ලන්ට මේ digital transformation එක ගැන කිසිම idea එකක් නැත්නම් ඕගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් පොඩි search එකක් කරන්න Google එකේ digital transformation ගැන. එතකොට ඔයාලට පේනවා ගොඩාක් industries දැන් digital transform වෙගෙන යනවා. For example ලංකාවේ හොඳටම digital transform වෙන sector එකක් තමයි banking sector එක. right? ඔයාලෝ ගියොත් එහෙම banks වලට වල සෑහෙන දේවල් digital transform කරලා තියෙනවා. හරි? එතකොට එතනදී අපිට ගොඩක් දේවල් අපිට digitally via app or a website කරගන්න හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට insurance වගේ fields උත් ඒ වගේ වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට දන්නවා සමහර government agencies right ලංකාවේ digitize වෙලා තියෙනවා. digital transformation එකට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ වගේ ගොඩක් දේවල් වෙලා තියෙනවා අපේ industry එකට. ඒතර digital transformation and digitization of the enterprise එක නිසා තමයි මේ වගේ අපිට network එකේ වෙනසක් ඇති වෙන්න පටන් ගන්න තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට මෙතනදී ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා අද app එකක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා කියන්නේ ඒක අපිට ගොඩක් convenient එකක්. right? So මේ user expectations එක ගන්නකොට අපි මේ apps වලට යනවා. So if you take today the banking industry and the insurance industry has transformed digitally, right? It has transformed digitally in a mass scale, right? So today in the banking sector, if you want to say apply for a loan, you can do it digital, right? If you want to get any service, you can do it digital, right? And you can get the service. So you have digital transformation that is there throughout all industries. So if you take the banking industry in Sri Lanka, those industries have gone to digital transformation. So today you can apply for a loan through the digital ways of doing business with the banks. So even insurance companies in our country have digitally transformed. In addition to that, there are other government corporations which will try to digitalize its enterprise and convert their business to digital, right? Because of this digital transformation, we will have all these network changes that are happening. Right? Specifically, it is driven by the user's convenience. Right? Basically, it is driven by the user's convenience. For example, user will actually want to apply for, say, any service via the internet and get immediate response from the internet. So this is one of the reasons for having that the network that we have today. Right? Then there is another development, which is the Internet of Things. Right? So everything in the world can be digitized into digitized. Right? So here you have Internet of Things. So because of the Internet of Things, you have many things connected to each other. Then you will see that there is no longer a requirement for service provider to do a service. Okay, so it's not just this service provider, but there are many players who will be coming into the scene to play the role of a service provider. හරි එතකොට මේ digital transformation and digitization of the enterprise එකෙන් තමයි network එක මේ තරම් expand වෙන්නේ. එතනදී අපි mobile app එකක් maintain කරන්න mobile app එකක් maintain කරන්න minimum requirement එකක් user requirement එකක් user convenience එකක් ලබා දෙන විදිහට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊළඟට internet of things කියන්නේ internet කියන එක දැන් ගොඩක් things කියන ඒවාත් එකතු කරගෙන තියෙනවා. එතකොට එතනදී ඔබට පේනවා ගොඩක් environmental දේවල් connect වෙලා තියෙනවා මේ internet එකට via the internet of things. ඊළඟට tech unicorns කියලා කියන්නේ එතනදී tech unicorns කියලා කියන්නේ මේ අපි භාවිත කරන කොන්ස්ලා කියලා කියන්නේ ගොඩක් players interna මේ deliver කරන්න required services to the end user. එතකොට several players will enter the market. මේ හේතු නිසා තමයි අපිට මේ network එක digitalize කරන්න නැහැ. එතකොට මේ සියලුම දේවල් ඒ කියන්නේ මේවා තමයි අපේ prime important target. So these are the prime important targets. To achieve these things, we will have to always tie up with our cloud. Right. To go ahead with this kind of requirements, right? Okay. So to go ahead with all these requirements of the users as well as the industry, the only way out is to go with the cloud. Right? So only way to go out is with the cloud. But cloud, if you want to plan it well, right? So the cloud will be the only option for us to move ahead. So you can see, so this cloud can be a unicorn. Right. But when you are deploying the cloud, cloud may not be easy. Right? Sometimes you might say, we are all right now. We are all right now. Meaning that your cloud service solution has been geared to cater to the requirements of the new age, right? So if you theoretically go by that, it will be a tech unicorn, right? So tech unicorn means it is capable of delivering the services required by the end user without any much problem. But even if you plan to build a tech unicorn, it will not be possible for most of the projects. Right? What you will end up with that you will have a kind of a cloud which is not really fully built, but so the cloud you build will not be what you really aspire it to be, but it will be something which will help you in some other way. Okay, so we will have to go with the cloud and we will have to build our cloud. So sometimes we will end up with a unicorn, and sometimes we will end up with a donkey kong. Right. So this is the situation. So most of you will actually treat this with lot of hunger. Right. So you will not be happy with how things are going on in the industry, but anyway, you will start off with an anger, but ultimately you will go into the kind of acceptance, right? Right. So even though you will start off with anger, denial, bargaining, depression, you will have to go with the acceptance, right? එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා දැන් අපිට මේ හැම දෙයක්ම කරන්න ගොඩාක් උපකාරී වෙන්නේ ක්ලවුඩ් කියන එක. ඒක ක්ලවුඩ් කියන එක එහෙම ලේසියට හදාගන්න බෑ. මොකද ඒක කාලේ එක්ක තමයි ඒක වෙනස දකින්න. නමුත් ක්ලවුඩ් කියන එක ගොඩක් රිසර්ච් වෙලා තියෙනවා. යන්න ක්ලවුඩ් කියන එක අපිට මැසිව් ලෙස පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ක්ලවුඩ් කියන එක පාවිච්චි කරනකොට ඒකට අපි දන්නවා අපි ක්ලවුඩ් එක බිල්ඩ් කරලා අපි වෙන්නේ ටෙක් යුනිකෝර්න් කෙනෙක්. නමුත් අපිට හොඳට බිල්ඩ් කරන්න බැරි වුණොත් අපි ටෙක් ඩොන්කි කෝන් කෙනෙක් තමයි නෑ. එතකොට මේවා මේ තත්ත්වයට යන්න අපිට ලොකු චේන්ජස් වෙන්න වෙනවා මානසික සහ ශාරීරික. එතකොට අපි කොහොමද මේ වගේ දෙයක් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩයිස් කරනකොට අපි ඒකට කැමති නෑ. කැමති නෑ මේ වගේ දෙයක් අලුතෙන් පටන් ගන්න. නමුත් අපිට අන්තිමට ඒක හොඳ දකින්න පුළුවන්. හොඳ දැකලා අපිට මේක accept කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට අන්තිමට තමයි acceptance කියන්නේ. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ if you want to become an expert engineer in the programmable age, what you have to learn? කොහොමද අපි මේ programmable age එක network engineer වලට පත් කරන්නේ? So roughly we have to go through 3 phases, right? So first phase is that you will have to build your core programming skills, especially using Python, RESTful, right? JSON, XML, right? GitHub, and things like that. Right? So in phase 2, you will have to cultivate the Linux skills, Ansible, Docker, and NetConf technical ability. Then in the phase 3, you have to learn network programming, so phase 3, you will have to learn about Linux networking, container networking, and network center virtualization. As a maker, you have also have new skills, like Linux networking, computer. So Linux networking, container-based networking, and so this is a high-level overview of how to change this. Okay, so you will have to cultivate new skills for catering into the programmable age, right? Right. So you will have to embrace programming. Right? You will have to embrace programming. So core programming skills will be part and parcel along with new networking tools you will have to cultivate. Right? So programming skills, core programming skills, relatively oriented to that You'll also be able to, so, these are the new aspects that you have to change it. Okay. Okay. Now let's come into the system of education. Okay, we will have first-hand experience for people like you who will. Okay, so this is the part of CCNA, which is kind of the engineering kind of syllabus, right? Which we have been uh, discussing about. Yeah? Right, so you can see when it comes to engineering kind of specialization, we have CCNA, then CCNP, and CCNP. Right, so in the kind of networking area, you get CCNA, CCNP, and CCI. But in the business area, you get so in the software kind of area, you will have to deal with the DevNet kind of certifications. So in DevNet, you can see there is also similar certifications, right? Okay, so you can see there are new tracks that have been introduced even by vendors like this. We're over the way every time. මේ ඔය පේන දෙයක් තමයි මේ ස්ලයිඩ් එකේ CCNA, CCNP, CCI එකට සමතරව DevNet කියලා අලුත් ස්පෙෂලයිසේෂන් එකක් මේ Cisco වලින් ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේනවා Cisco මේක අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරලා තියෙන ඉතාමත් ඉම්පෝටන්ට් certification එකක් විදිහට. important certification එකක් විදිහට. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේනවා developing the network කියන එක ඉතාමත් important එක. හරි. So now we know that what we know is about the CCNA, CCNP, and the CCI. But we will have to look into the future and be ready for our networking. So you will have to, of course, learn about many things. Which you have to learn about many things related Cisco related devices. Here. Right. So you can see several technologies have been eaten up by time. Right. Okay. So first of all, what happened was that you can see there were many protocol stacks that were there before so first of all, you see that TCP/IP and Internet has taken over the older networking protocol like IPX, OpenTalk, APM. For example, IPX, AppleTalk, APM, and TokenWing were there even before TCP/IP or existence of Internet was introduced. Right? So then you can see that traditional voice using the landline has also diminished. Right? You can see your network it has absorbed many other things for replacing the traditional voice. So now you will have voice being transmitted over most world. Further, there are many other technologies which has eaten up the older technologies. But if you can understand uh, understand about networking, that it has taken up by many other technologies. So especially now we have learned about this older protocols and traditional voice. But other technologies has also been eaten up by newer technology. Newer technology. එතකොට පරණ protocol ඒ වගේම traditional voice සානකුත් තව දේවල් ඔකට පේනවා. මෙතන මේ product with time ඒවා දැන් exist වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකත් ඕන කවුරුහායක් ඇතුළේ තමයි ඒ technology පොදලාට තියෙන්නේ. So most of the time this older technology will be lying inside museum. Right, so you normally will start with network engineering because you get very fascinated about this the Cisco certification. Right? So slowly you will have to migrate into some kind of a developer state. Right? Developer state. So of course there are many technologies when it comes this kind of when it comes to programming the network. හරි ඒතර programming the network කියලා කිව්වහම ගොඩාක් ගොඩාක් technologies තියෙනවා. ගොඩාක් technologies තියෙනවා. ඒතර ඒවා එකින් එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඉගෙන ගන්න වෙයි අවශ්‍ය විදිහට. අවශ්‍ය විදිහට. ඒතර ඒක මේකයි කියලා නියම කරන්නේ. ඒතර ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ අවශ්‍යතාවය අනුව ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ technologies ගැන ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. right ඊළඟට අපි මේ SDN කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා තමයි SDN කියන්නේ software defined network. SDN කියලා කියන්නේ software defined network. එතකොට SDN වගේ දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්නකොට ඔකට දැනට ඕනට වෙලා දෙන issues ඒ කියන්නේ දැනට ඕගොල්ලෝ පාවිච්චි කරන සවන් ලේයර්ස් වලින් දැනට ඕගොල්ලන්ට මූණ පාන්න වෙලා තියෙන ලේයර්ස් ගැන ඕගොල්ලන්ට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක උඩ තියෙන ලේයර් එකක් විතර. නමුත් ඒක වැරදි නිගමන. Right, so if you want to learn about SDN, you cannot say this layer which is on top of the application layer. Similarly, you cannot give this kind of diagram where SDN will cut off the network layer and the link layer. But what is SDN is the layer structure. Right? There are lots of things for you to learn about these things. So it's a layered structure. So I will not be going through each and everything that is there in this slide. Right? I will be going through in a kind of a high level overview of what we have to learn. Right? What we have to learn. Okay. So, so this is one way of representing what is there for us in software defined networking. Along with that, there will be other things that we'll have to learn about, other layers that we'll have to learn about. So what really we will have to learn? Right? What do we have to learn as for becoming a network engineer in the programmable? ඒක මොනවාද අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න තියෙන්නේ මේ අලුත් development එක right අපිට ඇත්තටම මොනවාද ඉගෙන ගන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ කියන එක තමයි බලන්න. So it will depend on what you are concentrating on. ඒක depend වෙන්නේ ඔයා මොනවද concentrate කරන්න කියලා. First of all, you will have to concentrate where you are going to focus on, whether it's the enterprise or the service provider or the cloud. So accordingly, you have to learn about the relevant technologies that are related with network programmability. So of course, as for all, you will have to learn about some programming, especially with an easy programming language like Python. Then you will have to learn about Linux basics. So these things I have been taught to you, Linux. Then other APIs like REST APIs, Git and the GitHub, right? Some terminology on the software concepts, and relevant technological areas, and then the new thing called the DevOps. Right? DevOps. So where you will be working, you will be concentrating on specific technologies in addition to these things. So I am not going to talk about all these things at the introduction. Right? As we go along, we can learn about this. Right? So that's all I have to talk today, right? Because today is the first day that we are meeting. So we will be only learning about, so we will only consider an introduction. So අදට අපි lecture එක කතා කරා. ඒකට අපිට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ that මෙතන අපිට ගොඩක් terminologies ඉගෙන ගන්න වෙනවා. ගොඩක් terminologies ඉගෙන ගන්න වෙනවා. එකක් තමයි මේ terminologies එකකින් මේක අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න වෙනවා. නමුත් අපිට එහෙම හැමදේම ඉගෙන ගන්නවා කියන එකත් ලේසි නෑ. ඒකට අපි වැඩ කරන්න යන area එකේ අපි මොකද්ද බලන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. අපි මොකද්ද area එක අපි කතා කරන්නේ. අපි cloud එකේදී එහෙම නැත්නම් service provider network එකේදී එහෙම නැත්නම් enterprise එකේ වැඩ කරන කෙනෙක් බලපාන එකට. ඊළඟට මේ SDN කියන්නේ මොකද්ද කියන එක. SDN කියන එක එන්නත් software defined networking කියන්නේ layers 7ට උඩින් තියෙන layer එකක්වත් මෙන්න මේ වගේ SDN ඒ කියන්නේ SDN එකකින් control plane එකයි data plane එකයි වෙන් කළා නිරූපණය කිරීමක්වත් එකම දෙයක් නෙවෙයි කියන්නේ. ඊළඟට SDN කියන්නේ මේ වගේ layer structure. මේ layer structure එකේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තියෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියේ multiple layer structure. ඊළඟට ඔයගොල්ලෝ මොනවද ඉගෙන ගන්න ඒවා බැලුවොත් එහෙම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙයි මේ කොළ පාටින් දක්වලා තියෙන ඔයගොල්ලෝ සාමාන්‍ය හැම ඒරියා එකකටම බලපාන. ඒකට ඔයගොල්ලෝ යම්කිසි programming knowledge එකක් තියෙනවා, especially easy programming language එක like Python ඉගෙන ගන්න වෙයි. ඊළඟට Linux basis එක නම් දැනටත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ courses වල පාවිච්චි REST APIs, Git and GitHub, software concepts ගැන ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. ඊළඟට different terminologies සහ ඊළඟට DevOps. DevOps කියන අලුතින් development වලට අවශ්‍ය කරන operations. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ වැඩ කරන්නේ enterprise එකේද, service provider network එකේද, cloud එකේද මත මේ සියල්ල ආදා පවතී. හරි. ඒ අනුව ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අලුතින් technologies ඉගෙන ගන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. හරි. ඒතර මේකෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ගැලවෙන්න අමාරුයි. නේ? ගැලවෙන්න අමාරුයි. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේවා මාස්ටර් කරගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට මේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකෙන් මම කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ යම් කිසි දැනුමක් දෙන්න මේ network programming සම්බන්ධයෙන්. ඒ කියන්නේ programmable age එකේ අපි ජීවත් වෙන නිසා. So in this subject I will be looking at different technologies which will be going to actually upgrade you to become a network programmable kind of for you for the field. So those skills will be very much useful, right? So don't think that whatever you learn for semester 3 and this semester 4 on CCNA and CCNP will be of waste, but it will be of use. But you will have to also concentrate on this new area which is coming, which is called the DevNet kind of area, right? So the ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අලුතෙන් මේ DevNet වලට prepare වෙන්න වෙනවා, right? Because we are moving to a new era in the network, right? එතකොට අපි network එකේ අලුත් era එකකට තමයි එන්නේ. එතකොට අලුත් skill set එකක් අපිට ඇති කරගන්න වෙනවා, right? ඇති කරගන්න. Right. So I think time is also up, right? So please mark your attendance on the chat. If you have any questions, please ask, or please ask so there is a question, do we have to configure the SDN controller like Cisco DNet in this module? So it will depend on how much time we have, right? So how much depth we can go in this course, right? So if we manage to go to a kind of a relevant depth, we will have to go to that. But let's see, because I'm not sure how much we will be able to cover, because you can see here. So to go from one, this is what you know at the moment, and to go from there to here, it says actually you will need actually 1000 hours of solid work, right? So we don't have that much of time, right? So I cannot promise we will go into very high depth levels, but we'll try, right? Maybe your course will add some courses, some modules. They are planning to go for a 4th year for your course. I don't know what's the development on that, but if they go to an addition of another year for your course, then they will include more subjects. So then you'll go into a higher depth level. But in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the aspects of what you should be looking at, right? To make your network more programmable.